So in this video, we're going to be talking about this, and this. 3 out of 4. Not bad for Hot Toy standards. Hi everyone and welcome to One Six Figure Focus, and in this video we're going to talk about the newly announced Fantastic 3 and Galactus. Yeah, you heard me, it's Fantastic 3. It's probably the most Hot Toys thing they've ever done. So yesterday on their official Facebook page and Instagram, Hot Toys put up the images, the prototype images, the announcement, the kind of signal that the pre-order was coming from for these different figures. Mr. Fantastic and Herbie. They also had a kind of, I suppose this must be the deluxe version because they also have a Mr. Fantastic on its own without Herbie. Then they had a Sue Storm, I think it's Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, and they had their version like this and another version that came with Herbie. So I suppose people are going to get, if they want the complete team, it's that kind of a thing really. If people are big fans of Fantastic Four and they like the movie and they want to get this, they're probably going to get the 4. Apologies for quick interruption to this video. If you're watching this video right now, hit the like button and more importantly, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me grow the channel and the support is greatly appreciated. Back to the video. And if they do, well, if they ever give us Johnny. So they put up basically for pre-order, or whatever you want to call it, the promotional image, prototype images of Mr. Fantastic and Herbie, or Mr. Fantastic on his own, Invisible Woman on her own, or Invisible Woman with Herbie. They put up then the Thing, and they also put up this strange one. This is 70 centimeters tall. This is a Galactus, and it's kind of a collaboration with their new Sophie line. It's Sophie, Sophie, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but from what I understand, they're vinyl figures. These I imagine are going to be lighter, probably not as good, maybe good quality as the kind of plastic we're used to in Hot Toys. I'm not sure if I'm describing that right. From my understanding, these are going to be lighter and less dense than the figures, the standard Hot Toys figures, the plastic that we're used to. I don't know why they're doing this. I can only speculate. I assume they're doing this because some characters, in this case Galactus is a perfect example, are simply too big to make in 6 scale, or it wouldn't make sense. Now, I haven't seen the movie obviously. This guy's huge. From what I know about Galactus, he's massive. He eats planets, so therefore he's going to have to be bigger than the planets, and he's in outer space, whatever like that. He does have the ability to scale and control his size, but I'm not sure how small he gets in the movie. So I mean, if they're doing this, I'd imagine he doesn't get your standard 6 scale size. I suppose if you think of Thanos was a 6 scale figure, but it kind of looks, I have it up above, it looks, that's what I'm looking up, it kind of maybe it's a bit smaller than a quarter scale, but it's a bigger figure, like a Hulk Buster or something like that. So I would speculate, I'm just guessing, but I'd imagine the smallest Galactus gets is in those teaser scenes when he's walking around. Is it, I don't know, do they live in New York? I'm not familiar with the Fantastic Four. They're not a group that I'm particularly ever gravitated towards. I haven't read the comics and I haven't actually seen those other movies. They don't look particularly good, and I haven't heard good things, so therefore but I don't know, I haven't looked at them. So I think they're doing this to cater for oddly scaled figures. And you can see here, it's 70 centimeters tall. If the smallest Galactus gets in the movie is still that in those scenes where he's towering over that city and he's walking through them, I'm not sure if is it New York? I don't know. Then to make him 6 scale would be impossible to scale in with the rest of a normal, you know, what are these figures, like 1 foot tall or whatever like that. So yeah, let's take a look at them. So they announced Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, the Thing, and this version of Galactus, which isn't 1/6 scale. It's hard to put a scale in it because he can actually change his size, but yeah, and they have these tiny little Fantastic Four figures with it, and the Silver Surfer, the new female one. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I don't have any prices yet. They haven't gone up on Sideshow. So look, I'd imagine this one here is probably going to be, because this is the one with Herbie, is probably going to be low 300s, I'd imagine. Right, so just flicking through some of this. You got the Pedro Pascal head sculpt. I can see the head sculpt there. It's been compared to Marlon Brando in The Godfather, and it's a bit of a strange one because I thought the announcement, last week's announcement, it was last Friday, the announcement of the Joel Miller from The Last of Us, which obviously in the HBO show was played by Pedro Pascal. That was an incredible head sculpt. That's like a 9 or a 10. That is a 100% nailed the look of Pedro Pascal in that HBO The Walking Dead show as the character Joel Miller. Whether you like it or not, fantastic head sculpt. This, I don't think this is a bad head sculpt, but I think it's kind of been shadowed because of just how good that Joel Miller one was. This is the thing about Hot Toys. Like, it's like, in the same way they say, like, a good athlete is only as good as their last game, which is harsh, because having a good game doesn't make a player a good player. Having a bad game doesn't make them a bad player. It's a pattern of repeated good games makes them a good player, or a pattern of repeated bad games make them a bad player. And Hot Toys are a good company, they do great stuff. They'll nail something like the prototype for Joel Miller, and then they'll do something like this, which is based on the exact same actor, albeit a different look, like his facial hair isn't the same, his hair isn't the same and all that, but they won't nail it as good. Now, I don't think this is a terrible sculpt. I can see Pedro Pascal here. I get what they're going with this. It's not like it's not something to be going mad about. It's a decent enough sculpt. It's just, I don't think it's as good as the Pedro Pascal one from The Last of Us, Joel Miller. So you have Herbie, a little kind of droid looking fella. I don't know anything about the Fantastic Four. I know that there's 4 of them, and one goes invisible, and one stretches, and one's a big rock guy, and one goes on fire and flies. Fine. But my knowledge is limited simply because I never gravitated towards the characters. I had no desire to read any. I think I actually have read a Fantastic Four comic before, though. There was a character who's made his first appearance in a Fantastic Four comic book. And you're talking about like something that's back in like the 60s or whatever. It might have actually been Spider-Man, but I wanted to read the character's origin story, their first appearance in a comic, and it happened to be a Fantastic Four one, and that's how I ended up reading one. But I don't have any interest in the characters, don't particularly care for the design or their skill set and stuff like that. I am going to see the movie because it's one of the big summer blockbusters. I like going to the cinema. I will see it, and I'll go and see it with an open mind, but my expectations, they're measured. I wouldn't say they're low, they're measured. So this is your Mr. Fantastic and Herbie set. And obviously they've got some sort of swap out parts, I believe. I heard people talking about saying it's like a power pose. But if you look at here, he has regular sized arms and legs. And you look at here, he has one very long left arm and then one very long left leg. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that. Is that a separate power pose piece? I might actually read the blurb in a minute on that. Although I always say that and then I forget. I don't have much to say about it. It looks like him. It's just not the best sculpt. They probably made the right thing. They're not going to do a Stretch Armstrong on this, let's be honest. I don't know it's weird. If I got the team, I'd probably just pose them all next to each other. I probably wouldn't use this, but then again, that kind of takes away the kind of key part of he's just a man in a onesie. Whereas this here, you're showing off what's super or special about him. So I don't know, maybe I would. The proportions, I think the proportions look okay. I kind of quite like the way they have given a nod to their looks, because I remember what they look vaguely like, what they look like in the comics, and it's a more kind of a, I suppose, nod to how they looked in the comic books, from what I recall. And I always said that, like, you need to take stuff from the comic books and then run it through like a reality filter to make it work on screen. Otherwise everyone looks like they're wearing pajamas. Like, classic Loki is obviously not the same as Endgame Loki. I much prefer to look for, Avengers 2012 Loki or Endgame Loki, because that's what he looked like, because they went back to 2012 in the movie and all that. I much prefer that. I find that it's a hard sell if you have someone in their pajamas just like... Yeah, and I mean, like, I've heard the argument with Wolverine and Deadpool Wolverine, but no, that wasn't like a onesie. That's exactly what I'm talking about, actually. They took reference from the yellow and blue. They stayed close to the source material, but they made it look armorized. It just looks cooler. I would have struggled if he was just wearing a onesie, to be honest, to accept it. It just looks way cooler than what they've done. So that, what I like to call it the reality filter. They take bits from the comic books, they pay homage to it, but they make it kind of more believable or armorized look, like, and I really like that. Again, it's personal preference, but yeah. But at the same time, I like what they've done here, because this is set in like a retro futurism. It's not the normal Earth. It's it looks like it's like the 50s or 60s, but then they've got flying cars and stuff like that. I think I haven't seen the movie, but I have a fair idea what it. I have a fair idea of what I think is going to happen in the movie. Let's face it, this movie is just like a lot of other MCU movies. It's just to set up the next one. This is all trying to set up Doomsday and Secret Wars. Now, I'm more excited about, say, Doomsday, Secret Wars, Brand New Day. Like, I wasn't particularly excited about Thunderbolts. I went to see it, was all right. I'm not particularly excited about this, but I'm going to see it with an open mind. Whereas Doomsday, I'm excited about. Maybe wrongly so, I'm not sure. Time will tell. Secret Wars, Brand New Day, definitely excited about that. Bring in the X-Men and, you know, maybe I'll be a bit more excited then. But okay, so this here, yeah, look, they've done, from what I've seen in the trailers and what I'm seeing here, I think they've done a pretty good job at replicating Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. Now, I kind of do want to figure out, I want to go up to the very end here. I'm going to go to that slide. They look great together. If we finally get Johnny. So weird that we didn't get Johnny. But I would imagine, like, I saw people say that, like, there were spoilers in these images, but I don't really see any spoilers in these images. I see the suits, they were in the trailer. I see the four of them, they were in the trailer. We all know their skill set anyway. Herbie was in the trailer. There's a trailer going around of the Thing with a beard and then without a beard. That was in the trailer. Galactus, we know that was in the trailer. She's pregnant. I think the baby is the only thing that Hot Toys have revealed that wasn't in the trailer, but I mean, yeah, it wouldn't take a genius to figure out that she's probably going to have the baby in the movie. So Herbie looks kind of cool. Looks like a little droid. If you like droids, you go mad for that. Right, you want to get to the end of this. So how does this work? Separate rolling eyeballs function, interchangeable face plates for Herbie, a few different swap out hands. And then you have a few different on the right swap out hands, which look kind of, some of them look longer than the others. Interchangeable sculpted statue body. Oh, okay, so like you have the figure which is articulated, which say on the left, and then this, it's a completely different body. Okay, that's kind of cool. So you're gonna get 3 figures for one here, really. You got the regular Mr. Fantastic, you've got the interchangeable sculpted statue body, and then you've got Herbie. So yeah, that's that. Well, that answers my question. Right, let's take a look at this one here. So this is, I think, Vanessa Kirby is the actress playing the Invisible Woman. She's a unique looking woman, Vanessa Kirby. Obviously very attractive, but she's unique looking. There's something like different about her. She has unique features, I think. I can see Vanessa Kirby here, but I do think the sculpt is soft and needs a little bit of work. The hair, I don't know. Maybe it's because I more or less know that I'm not going to pick these up. I'm not really that critical on them, but I can see Vanessa Kirby here. I don't think this is like the worst sculpt I've ever seen, but I think it's a bit soft and needs a bit of work. Kind of reminds me in a way of the Arthur and Tommy Shelby from Big Chief Studios. I could see the likeness to Cillian Murphy and Paul Anderson, but they were definitely softer. And this is actually less soft than that. This is actually more of a likeness to Vanessa Kirby than those 2 figures from Big Chief Studio. Likeness is there, just a bit soft. I'm not sure what's up here. Body looks a bit weird. I think the body looks good. I think it looks very, feminine and all that. I think it's just the pose maybe looks a bit weird. It's a funny one to do because her skill set is the invisible woman, but yet when you're making a 6-scale figure from her, how do you package that? Just sell a stand and a box and nothing else and go, the Invisible Woman. Don't think people would be too impressed with that. But like, yeah, so you have what she looks like in the suit, but you can't really show off her skill set because she's invisible. And of course, well, there's nothing Hot Toys can do about that really. I think this, I don't know. You know what I like about these figures? Even though like it's kind of like I kind of sound like I'm going back on what I'm saying earlier on, and I'm not. I don't like direct lifts from comic books to screen. It doesn't work. I just don't think it works. It needs to be run through a reality filter. Pick and choose. I think a good director can do that, judge what will work and what will not. These, because they're set in that retro futurism, they're set in that kind of not the main Earth that is Earth 616, whatever it is, the main Earth that the MCU takes place in. So it's a different version of Earth. That's why it'll be easier, I think, to sell these very simple outfits to the audience. I actually quite like them, and I quite like how all 4 of them look together. And I think they've done a good job. I think they've done a good job on the proportions here and the suit. I think the poses are a little odd. Now I don't know if that's because it's a lack of articulation or what. This thing here, these never work. I'm not one for the magic effects. When it comes to these magic or flame effects. I think the flame effects can be done quite well. For example, the thrusters, the flame thrusters that you have on a Boba Fett or a Mandalorian, or kind of like one of those type of Mandalorian type characters, they're quite well. The flamethrower effects are done quite well. But these kind of effects, like these force field type, I'm not entirely sure on her skill set there, but I'm sure this isn't anything to do with her invisibility, I'd imagine, because they could put that effect on her arm to make her look like she's going invisible if they wanted. They could have actually made an invisible version of this. They could have done like, the hologram Darth Maul. I don't think people were too impressed with that, but they could have done some sort of version like that to make her look invisible if they really wanted to. But I think I would rather this than that. So I know she has other skill sets. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe this is like a force field or something like that. But this style of force field effect, they don't really work. They didn't work with the cable one. Great in the movie. Didn't quite work or translate well to figure, or the Mark 85 in that scene in Endgame where he puts up the hologram shield, or not hologram shield, the force field shield, whatever it was. Really energy shield. Really cool in the movie, but just looks like a clamshell piece of plastic when it translates. I wouldn't be using that in the same way they wouldn't use magic effects or electricity effects. I think it cheapens the look of the figure, especially if the likeness and proportions are quite well and it looks realistic. The baby looks so creepy. Yeah, really creepy. Unless it's... This could be one of these things that... Do you remember when Deadpool and Wolverine came out? But they rushed ahead a special edition of Deadpool with the gold guns. I have it downstairs, it's great and all that. But they had this like harness for Baby Pool. That never happened in the movie. And I haven't seen a cutscene where it does happen. But that's what Hot Toys put out. So here, I wonder, is this... Maybe she doesn't have the baby in the movie and they just assume she has. I don't know. Or maybe they do. But this baby looks creepy. It actually kind of looks like a boss baby the way it's sitting there. As if it's like, I don't know, pulling all the strings there from its little hover pram. But yeah, look, maybe she... In the trailer, she says she's expecting or whatever like that. So maybe she does have the baby. Or maybe it's a bit of a Hot Toys blunder like that baby harness and Baby Pool. That pose just looks really weird. That's a good pose. I think this shows up. I can see the likeness of Vanessa Kirby, but it is soft and it's not all the way there. Let's be honest. Okay, it's not all the way there, but it's not a travesty as well. Like, they got a good starting point if they improve it. But I mean, ordering something and hoping that Hot Toys improves in the prototype, it's not. I wouldn't recommend that strategy. But you can live in hope. Maybe they will. But the proportions look very feminine. I think it looks quite well. That's a better looking pose. I think it's more natural looking. So yeah, surely to God she actually has the baby. I think they got her ears right. She has kind of pointiest ears. That one, although, looks sticking out a fair bit there. I actually quite like the sculpted hair. I think I'd prefer this than some artisan hair with heaps of curls in it that won't actually look like the hairstyle that she actually had in the movie. Like the Wanda artisan, the sculpted was the way to go on that. I thought the sculpted turned out really, really well, but the artisan hair, it was too voluminous. It was a bit too long. The curls on it was like, that's not how it looked in the movie, So I think I'd prefer the sculpted hair for a lot of these longer hair characters, to be honest. Well, when Hot Toys comes to doing in-art, tend to do it quite well. So yeah, that's Sue Storm. Now this is what we're looking at is the Invisible Woman, the one that doesn't come with Herbie, because there's another version of her which I believe does come with Herbie. Baby Franklin Richards, figure and cradle with removable cover. All right, basically a Baby Yoda. So she comes with separate rolling eyeballs. She comes with obviously this cradle with removable color. Baby Franklin, a kind of a force field effect type thing. Base, which I can't see too many people getting excited about. A bunch of swap out hands, gloved and ungloved. Okay, let's go on to the Thing, because we can't go on to Johnny because they only did Fantastic 3. The Thing, yeah, again, not a character I gravitate towards. I think it looks quite well though. It looks like in the trailer. I think they've done a great job with the kind of rocky texture there, all the different kind of not only the main outlines of the rocks, but then the kind of dents and pockmarks on the rocks themselves. I think they've done a good job with the likeness and the rocky eyebrows and the beard, which we'll see later on. You can also pose this guy with the top on and without it. I think that's good. Instead of making people buy two or having a swap out, just give them the jumper. Hopefully the jumper isn't too much hassle to put on. I think there's a seam down the back, but you're not going to be posing them turned around, let's be honest. I don't believe Herbie comes with this guy, although I will go to the very end. Yeah, that's kind of like, I think that would look great in like in a module case or something like that, with all the matching outfits. Or that rock base doesn't come with the thing I already checked. You can see the joints there on the shoulders. I think they kind of get away with it, to be honest, because there's so many lines and textures on this that they kind of get away with it. The Xenomorph got away with it because it's kind of segmented anyway. The Xenomorph, the Scorched Xenomorph from Romulus. If you remember that it had like it was jointed, but you couldn't see him because it was really, really dark. Whereas here, even though this guy's kind of like an orangey, rocky color, you can still see the joints, but they're not as obvious as, say, like a Hulk, because the Hulk would be like smooth green, whereas here there's all the segmented rocks and stuff like that. So I think they've... I don't think those joints are that bad. I prefer no joints. The beard is hilarious. But yeah, it looks like it did in that TV spot or whatever. Again, so a base that no one really care about, I'd imagine. Bunch of swap out rock. At least the bases are the same for everyone. Herbie doesn't come with this one. So this, oh yeah, by the way, certain versions of these come with the special edition exclusive metal collectible card with display case. I think they're all the same. 2 interchangeable head sculpts, one with a beard, one out, separate rolling eyeballs function, a removable top so you can have them posed, you know, real Rocky and as the Thing, clobbering time and all that, or you can have them posed with the team suit jumper top on. And if you can see on the right here, the very far right, that's when he's facing away, you can see that seam down the back, so maybe it's Velcro or maybe it's a tiny zip. But yeah, that's the Thing. So there's, in fairness, a lot of drops, because there's 2 versions of this, 2 versions of this, that's 4, 5, and then 6. This is interesting. I'll say this, so this is the first we've seen of Hot Toys collaboration with Sophie. I'm going to call it Sophie. Sophie? No, I'm going to call it Sophie. I'm going to drop the V. Sophie? I'm just going to stick with Sophie. Yeah, so this is the first collaboration we've seen with Hot Toys and Sophie. We've seen some sort of little reel kind of anticipating, basically going, stay tuned, we have a big announcement to make or something like that. It was on their Instagram and Facebook last week or earlier on this week, when they're basically saying we're collaborating with this this vinyl producing company or whatever. In a kind of same way that they did Hot Toys collaborate with Hono, and I see mostly positive things. What do they have now? 3 Wolverines and Magneto, some Spider-Man stuff like that. So yeah, it's been mostly positive. So look, and they're a bit cheaper as well. Oh, don't forget the Vader and the Rebels Vader and the 2 Stormtroopers as well. So I wonder, will this work for them? Like, let's be honest. Look, if this fella is absolutely towering, like bigger than Godzilla over the city, you're never going to be able to get a 1/6 scale figure. And to be honest, you don't need one that big. That's just ridiculous. It wouldn't fit in your house. It's silly. But this is kind of a good compromise, I think. So it's still huge, it's like 70 centimeters tall. That's quite big. So it's not going to fit in a detail or Billy bookcase or a Blooddin or whatever. You're going to need some sort of a vertical custom module case, I'd imagine, or maybe like a big floating shelf capable of supporting it. So this guy I find interesting. I think this, out of everything I've seen in the trailer, this is what I'm looking forward to the most. This has potential to be a really good villain. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, and I can't because I haven't seen it, I haven't heard any. I think this is going to be a cliffhanger ending. I think, like, this guy is huge. He eats planets. I'd be willing to bet that their planet gets eaten and they flee. And that sets up Doomsday. And I think they're going to get the Avengers going to get their arses kicked in Doomsday as well. And then Secret Wars, they'll bring everyone back. It'll be cameo after cameo after cameo. Hopefully there's a good story. Hopefully there's a good, engaging story and good dialogue and good action. And, you know, the cameos that are there, they're not just there going, ooh, look, shiny thing. They actually do something. So with this guy, honestly, I hope he absolutely trashes the place. It'll be a better movie. Again, I don't know what they have in mind. But that. So look, this thing, I haven't got a price on this yet. So Galactus Jumbo. Okay. Sophie figure. The Fantastic Four, First Steps. And you've got 5 different minifigures there, just to show you how menacing and how big this guy is. I think this is pretty cool. I like this design in the comics, and there's different versions, obviously different illustrators and artists. but I like the translation here. This is what I'm talking about, the reality filter. They didn't just do an entirely straight lift, although there's some versions that I've seen in comics that are very close to this, but they've taken what's in the comic book and they've just changed it a bit. It's really kind of, I love the kind of like, it's almost like a science fiction type of look. For some reason it reminds me of the first Transformers movie with is it Galvatron or something. It just reminds me, or the big planet, I can't remember the name of the planet eater, but anyway, yeah, so it kind of reminds me of Galvatron. I think it's when Megatron gets killed and then they bring him back together as Galvatron, but I can't remember, what's the name of the giant planet thing that actually brings them back together and changed them? Anyway, gotta watch that again. So this here, yeah, Galactus Jumbo Sophie figure, grand. It looks good. I like the design. It looks enough like the comic books that it, more than pays homage and gives the nod and everything, and there's no doubt who it was, because that's a classic thing. He's got this weird helmet that comes up like this. So this guy goes around eating planets, and I think the Silver Surfer seeks out planets for him to eat or something like that. I think that's how it works. Let me know in the comment section there if there's anything you think I should know. I think this looks good. Now this is not it's not a statue, which is great. It's not a fully articulated 6-scale figure, because it's not a 6-scale figure. It couldn't possibly be. He's too big. It has 6 points of articulation. I love the detail in this. This is making me more excited. When I saw the trailer, I went, Galactus, brilliant. That could be interesting. And I just have a feeling that this movie, the main point of this movie is going to be to show you how much of a threat he is. Because I think a sign of a good movie, whether it's an action movie, a science fiction movie, a superhero comic movie, whatever, your villain needs to be good. He has to be a threat. There has to be some sort of stakes. He has to make you believe whoever they are, that it's a threat. They're going to die, or at least someone's going to die, or they might. Or you have to be thinking, how are they going to get out of this? If you know how they're going to get out of this, then it's kind of like the writing is bad and it's too obvious. There should be some sort of brain candy there as well. I really hope that this guy is absolutely devastating. I don't want this guy to be a one and done, because Avengers Doomsday, don't they have Robert Downey Jr. ready for that? And I don't know where they're going with that, considering he played Iron Man, but I presume all will be revealed. But Doomsday's a big character, so I'm hoping they don't just kill this guy off. And I'm hoping he doesn't, like, I want him to wreck the gaff. I want the movie to showcase how powerful, how evil, how much of a threat this guy is. But I don't want them to showcase that and then bang, he's defeated. But our world is destroyed, so we've got to go somewhere else. I want this person, like this guy, to cause havoc, so that's like, okay, this is a problem for everyone. I think it makes for a better movie. I love the design on this, even like the lines and stuff on the face. It's almost like the Death Star kind of texture on these kind of horns, whatever we call them, on the helmet. Oh yeah, 6 points of articulation. The neck moves. I don't know if it's going to move just left and right. The upper arm moves, the forearm moves, and the waist. There's no other articulations. Approximately 70 centimeters, so there compared to Reed Richards. Absolutely looks huge compared to him. 6 points of articulation with rotatable movement in the head, upper arms, forearms, and waist. Yeah, so that'd be like 1, 2, 3, both forearms, 5, 4, 5, and then the waist would be the last one. 5 miniature figures attachable to Galactus' body, as if they're fighting him. Don't expect too much detail. This one on the left looks really rough. This Reed Richards, like, they're okay. You're obviously not going to get the likeness or the detail and whatever because they're tiny. So but look, it's a nice inclusion. I don't know would I use them though, to be honest. I get what they're there for, to show the scale and all this. I think that this is the most exciting thing out of them all. But I need to see the movie first. But like I said, the Fantastic Four were never something I gravitated towards. But yeah, look, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that was the big news from yesterday. The Fantastic 3 and Galactus. They have teased Johnny Storm, so I'm sure he's going to arrive. They probably haven't released him because maybe he comes with some key piece of equipment or something, an accessory, which is a potential spoiler. Because I don't think there's any spoilers really so far. What's the only spoiler? I mean, we knew Galactus was in the trailer. We knew your man, the thing, had a beard. We knew Herbie was in it. We'd seen the designs. The only thing is the baby, but we knew she was pregnant. I mean, it's not a real. I don't think that's going to be a big plot hole or a plot spoiler. Like a spoiler has to spoil the plot, really, doesn't it? Okay, yeah, that's the end of the video. If you want to support the channel, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. You can also follow me on Instagram. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.